Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply. Subject to approval.
Get ready for success. Leadership Strategies for Women is a show dedicated to providing practical and valuable strategies for emerging women leaders of today. It's your time to get inspired, motivated, and challenged to achieve your vision for success. And now, here's leadership speaker and coach, Ellie Nieves.
Hello, I'm Ellie Nieves, and welcome to the Leadership Strategies for Women podcast. I'm the founder and president of Leadership Strategies for Women, where I develop seminars and webinars to help high-achieving women to show up, speak up, and step up in their careers. To learn more, please visit my website at leadershipstrategiesforwomen.com, or you can follow the Leadership Strategies for Women page on Facebook. Gone are the days of the dictatorial manager. These days, we know that to get the best from your staff, to encourage connection, commitment, and personal and business growth, we need to lead with emotional intelligence, encouraging strengths rather than preying on weaknesses. And as leaders, we need to be self-aware, we need to lead by example, and we need to be the standard that we wish to see. Leading with emotional intelligence is a must for the modern business to thrive. And here to talk to us about leading with emotional intelligence is our guest, Sarah Griffiths. Sarah is a hypnotherapist who uses coaching and traditional therapy techniques to help men and women to achieve full potential and live the lives they deserve. Sarah, welcome to the Leadership Strategies for Women podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So Sarah is joining us from Australia. We are honored that you're joining us today, Sarah. And with that, I would love to learn a little bit more about your background. Can you share with us?
Yeah, so I've been working for myself now for about 11 years. And I started off in the hospitality industry. And now, as you said, yes, that kind of moved into coaching, business coaching from the hospitality work that I was doing. And that has developed from what I realized about the help that people needed in their business, that success, your external success in anything is really about your internal transformation. And I discovered that a lot of people were suffering with some very limiting, very, very debilitating, limiting beliefs, a lot of it due to trauma. That were holding them back in their lives and affecting the way they were showing up in everything. And that kind of led me to the work that I do now. So it's been a journey. We certainly grow and develop as we go through life, and we especially when we recognize and take advantage of the opportunities that come, even when it seems a bit off kilter to what we're currently doing. So yeah.
And what do you love most about the work that you do?
Definitely the results for my clients, seeing them starting work with me, certain that they can't do anything, that they will always be this way, that this can't be changed, and then just a few sessions later, seeing them completely different, a different outlook, a different approach, just very different in themselves. Yeah, I love that.
I can completely relate. I love that as well as a coach. So what are some of the challenges that you have personally faced as you were striving to achieve your own career goals?
I think that, well, aside from the obvious, that the biggest challenge was definitely myself. And it's so funny as we work through, isn't it? You know, when you start off on a kind of personal and professional development journey, and everyone says to you, oh yeah, but it's all you're in your own way. So I can relate to the absolute truth, that there were times when I was my own biggest obstacle. And some of that is the unknown. As I said, the beliefs that we carry, the patterns, the behaviors that are just habit, that are held in the subconscious. They are very, very problematic for everyone that I meet, absolutely everyone. But that's the unknown. But what I was aware of very quickly, I think the biggest problem is other people. Is people outside of you. And when you are trying to change and grow and to elevate yourself, it is very surprising the people around you that you would expect to support you, but how sabotaging and damaging they can be. And when you don't recognize that, I think it can be a real problem in holding you back when you listen to the wrong people and they give you the wrong advice because their motivations, maybe we don't stop and question that someone's motivation might not be in our best interests, and that the things they're saying are because of what is right for them rather than what is right for us. Yeah, definitely other people for sure.
Definitely something to recognize. As you're right, there might be someone else might be best invested in you not succeeding, or you not taking some sort of a risk in your own life because it might benefit them that you not take that risk, or it might hurt them if you do. But there are also individuals who sabotage you in an unwilling way. For example, they don't have a vision or a dream for themselves, so they might not be able to have a vision or a dream for yourself as well.
Absolutely. And it's important to realize as well that that person is quite likely to be your spouse, your partner. You know, because when you start to level up, when you have a dream that is beyond what they can see, it's important that you mention sabotage, because what they can do, they can seem to be supportive and encouraging, but do lots of things that actually sabotage and undermine you. And it's problematic for various reasons. Number one, you're not ready for it, so you don't see it. You don't want to accept it. But also the pain of betrayal then can mean that you don't actually see it for a long time because it's not something you want to recognize and acknowledge. And I find that a lot with the people that I work with, the women I work with, the sudden realization that someone close to them is actually sabotaging what they're doing. Yeah.
So share with me some of the strategies that have helped you to get ahead in your career.
I think very much being open to opportunity. So I know that obviously the way that we are made, the mind does not like change. It likes to stick with what's familiar. And I think it's very important to recognize early on, if we want to achieve anything beyond what we are, recognizing that the fear that we feel doesn't necessarily mean that what we're doing is wrong. It's just our body and mind, it's our natural instinct to anything new. And I think I learned that very early on, and I learned to look at things and to question my initial response, if it was a negative one, and to understand that it's actually just an instinctive response, and to work around it. So that was definitely one. But the other one that I learned was to always take responsibility. So I learned very quickly that when we blame other people and we blame things outside of ourselves, then we're stuck. You know, if it's down to someone else or something else, there's nothing we can do. But when we take responsibility and realize that something is actually down to us, and it's up to us whether we solve it or not. That very much changes the mindset. So I think for me, those two big things have been really, really key. But yeah, so recognizing that the fear isn't real, and reasoning that out, but then also taking responsibility and not accepting things outside myself to be the reason I'm not doing something, but accepting that it's always me, and then exploring that further too. I think they're two quite big ones there.
So you believe that women can be more effective leaders if they lead with emotional intelligence. Can you tell us what emotional intelligence is?
Yeah, so emotional intelligence is extremely important, because these days people expect so much from a workplace. It's such a big part of our lives. And leading with emotional intelligence is very much about being aware of yourself, how you are impacting any and every situation and the people around you. But it's a much more, as you said in the beginning, instead of this dictatorial style of management where literally people just get dictated to, they get put in a box and told to do their job. And the manager can come and go and be moody and bark out orders. And it's very much a focus on the fact that people work best and give you the most when they are respected, when they are treated well, when they are included. And when job has variety, when you invest in them and you give them opportunities. We all know that it's very expensive to recruit and train staff. And when you give your staff a working environment which is progressive, and where they feel respect, where it's calm, where it's consistent, then you really do, you get the best out of people. So it's a leadership style that focuses on people's qualities and getting the best out of them, but very much about leading by example. So you set the standard of what you expect, because we all know that everyone responds to that. It's very hard to have someone in a workplace that is disruptive, or like talks about people behind their back, or causes trouble, as some people do, when the manager has a leadership style that sets the standard, because then that becomes unacceptable.
So clearly, emotional intelligence is something that can help high achieving women in the workplace who are leading others. So if we had to break down emotional intelligence into its key elements, what are some of those elements, and how can women leaders start to leverage those particular elements so that they can get ahead in their careers?
Yes, so I think that leading with emotional intelligence, it encompasses some of the key aspects of personal development. So one of the things would definitely be about being the standard, as I mentioned. So that is, it's all about self. So leading with emotional intelligence is being self-aware. How am I showing up in this situation? What is the example that I am demonstrating? So that's going to be things like learning to respond rather than to react. And I won't go into all the details, because people can see for themselves how when you respond rather than react. So when you react in the moment. You say something the second something happens, and maybe you can react in anger. You can say something that you later regret. So it's learning to actually respond rather than react. So your response can happen. It's at least 5 seconds delayed, but it doesn't matter how long it takes. But it's about giving a response to a situation that sets the standard. And is congruous with the values. So leading with emotional intelligence is about having a clear set of values, for yourself and for your team, setting values, setting boundaries, setting standards. It's about consistency. You don't want to come in as yourself one day. It's so that people can rely on you. People know that you are genuine and authentic, and when you come into work, they know what to expect. But the last thing you want is to be coming into work and people saying, "Oh my God, I wonder how she's going to be today." You know, are they going to get the nice version of you? Are they going to get the version that listens to ideas? Or are they going to get the version that is moody and cold and shut off? You know, so it's about consistency, because consistency goes with authenticity. You can't be consistent all the time if you're not being authentic, because you can't keep it up. So it's about being authentic, which brings the consistency, which brings security. People feel safe. They feel safe to explore the workplace. They feel safe to explore their role in it. They feel safe to approach you. So it's about creating that safe and consistent environment where everyone knows what to expect. And you can imagine, when you have that as the platform, what it does for productivity, and also what it does for what people will bring to the job, what they can get out of the job. And it becomes much easier to work out what people's skills and weaknesses are as well, when you have that kind of, that platform that is consistent.
That's great. I love that definition of emotional intelligence. And when you are consistent and when you bring that to the workplace every day, it allows you also to flex to others, because others come into the workplace with different thoughts, different emotions. But if you are the one consistent element there, it actually creates a welcoming environment, as you said. It's a place that people can actually know, where they know what to expect, they know how to engage with others. And as you said, it also feels like a safe space. It's great. So what are some of your personal goals and your personal aspirations?
Yeah, so my business at the moment, I mainly work with, as I said, these debilitating, limiting beliefs, where people have experienced trauma in the past. And it really does hold people back, because childhood trauma seriously affects how a person develops, but their belief in themselves is severely diminished, and can lead to abusive relationships as well. And obviously that seriously affects someone's work, and what they're able to do in their own businesses. So they're the main people that I work with. All my work is online. I work with a global audience. I'm pretty much fully booked, though, with the work that I can do one-on-one. So I'm developing group work as well, so that I can help more people. But one of the things I'm really focusing on at the moment is the fact that the health system has to dramatically change its approach to help people with the emotional and the mental effects of trauma and abuse, because psychology and talk therapy can go so far, but it cannot undo those limiting beliefs. And we really need to now be embracing much more of these holistic approaches, not just hypnotherapy, because they are so valuable and they can do so much more than talk therapy. And yet, other than if people can afford to pay for them privately, they're being ignored by the government sector, who don't promote them, don't fund them. And yet I can have people who tell me they've been in therapy for 20, 30, 40 years for different things, and just a few sessions with me, and they literally don't know themselves. It's crazy that this is really just not being promoted to people in the way that it should be. So one of my missions at the moment is to try, it's such a big machine, but at least do something to try and get this this message heard by people that can make changes that drastically change people's lives. And it's not just here in Australia, this is worldwide. It doesn't matter who I speak to. the funding is going into the wrong things to help people. So many people's lives could be different if the funding was being used in another way. So I'm quite passionate about that as well.
So Sarah, how can our listeners get in touch with you or follow your work?
Yeah, okay. So I think the best way is probably my website, which I'm sure you'll put in the notes, but it's sallyg.com. So that's just the name Sally with the letter G, sallyg.com. And really on there, people will find all about me, the work that I do. Again, I have a podcast, a YouTube channel. It can all be accessed from there. And one of the important things is before I work with anyone, I give them a free 30-minute session with me, just to check that, we're compatible, but really that I'm going to get them the result that they want. I don't want to work with anyone that I think I won't get the result for. So that's really important. So I think if they go there, they can kind of progress from there, but that gives them pretty much everything they need.
That's great. Sarah, thank you so much. You've given us a lot to think about when it comes to employing emotional intelligence in the workplace, but you also shared some valuable insights about childhood trauma and how it can be an impediment to us actually getting ahead in our careers. Thank you so much for being a work guest.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm glad that was useful. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that point. So yeah, thank you for coming back to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, God bless.